All right, everybody. Welcome to our presentation on cardio for singers. Super excited to go through this today, make you guys suffer a little bit. That's going to be the best part. And, just kind of go through things. So, purpose of the day, and really the purpose over the last few weeks is just to kind of clarify, useful things for cardio and strength training. Okay. Strength training was a very popular topic last week. Because I think everyone likes strength training. Does everybody like strength training? Give me a show of hands. Everybody enjoy strength training? Okay. Who does?
I do now. I didn't before I met you.
Okay. So, and you guys can give me a thumbs up as well in the chat. Who actually likes and does cardio on a regular basis? No judgments whatsoever. Like, the somewhat. Okay. So
Well,
I gotta.
you're talking about running, or it could be dancing
It
or
could be
walking.
anything. It could be anything. Yeah, it could
Oh,
be anything.
yeah.
That's funny. I got a thumbs down. That's great. Um, I love it. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this and let's kind of walking is great. So okay. One of the things that I want to clarify from the offset before we start is that cardio does not have to be running. Okay. I think that is a misconception. I think the misconception about cardio is that either cardio is going to be long and like boring, or that it's got to be running and it's going to be really hard on your body. Okay. And neither one of those is true. Okay. So what I want you to take from today is think about the principles that we talk about and then what we want to get out of it. Right. So for example, if I'm working on thing one that I want to do with a singer is I want to get their heart rate below 60. Okay. Like I want to improve what's called their cardiac output, because that's going to allow them to go longer, go harder on stage while staying aerobic. Okay. If your set point, if your resting heart rate's like 85, and then you're doing things on stage that are intense and you're singing and everything else, over the course of the performance, your heart rate is going to creep up, just your low heart rate, your resting heart rate. And by the end, it's like you're not going to be aerobic anymore. And really with performance, especially when it comes to anything, it's just how quickly that becomes the case. So what we want to do with this is drive heart rate down to allow for, to give you a deeper well to draw from, right? But, some people, what some people do is they'll walk on a treadmill and breathe through their nose. Like I want nasal breathing with that. Okay. Nasal breathing with that method is a very good way to do that. In fact, it's one of the only ways to do it. So I'm having you're walking on a treadmill, you're breathing through your nose. Like that works for some people, but it's boring as hell for others. What you could also do in the same way, and we're going to practice this in a minute, is you could do circuit training. Okay. I could set up a couple exercises. I could challenge you. You just breathe through your nose the whole time. The idea would be to set a clock for 10 minutes, do these things and keep going. Okay. And if you're breathing through your nose and you're able to keep it at that level of intensity, it's still aerobic. Okay. And so it's accomplishing the same task. My point is that there's a lot of roads to Rome. Okay. And you'll see that today. So I'm just going to share my screen and then we will go for it. I'm just going to share a couple slides here because I just want to clarify a couple things. And yeah, we'll go from there. So hold on. Oh man, here we go. This week in technology, man. 1 second, everybody. Just letting people in. Okay. Okay, so question for everybody, and feel free to unmute and give me feedback. Should you do cardio is singing while running on a treadmill a good thing or a bad thing? All right. Is that good? Is that bad? All right. Christy, you're going to say something?
Well, I've seen a lot of people train to do like shows that way.
Mhm.
So I've actually never done it because my knees don't handle running super well because I've had 3 knee surgeries, but I've heard that that can really build up stamina.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Any other feedback on that? Okay. And I'm not giving any judgments in this thing, right? Keep it in the back of your mind. And by the end, we can talk about that, but you can give me that feedback. So basically, let's talk about endurance, right? So when we think about endurance, we have 2 things that we're focusing on. What is called central endurance, okay, which is how well your heart and your lungs deliver oxygen to working muscles and organs, okay? So that's like the power of the respiratory system itself. So when somebody talks about heart health, That's central endurance. That's how the stuff inside of you, in the middle of you, delivers oxygen to the rest of your body. Peripheral endurance is how well it's received. So how well your muscles will process oxygen. So when we're talking about running on a treadmill, okay, that could be a really good way to improve central endurance. But if the peripheral stuff doesn't accept it very well, and you've got knees and low back problems, then those two things might not match up, and it might not be the best method for you, for example. But we need both. We need both of those things. And so when we think about things that we want for, for athletes and for musical athletes and for singers, thing one is aerobic capacity. So aerobic capacity is staying aerobic while performing. Okay. So in this situation, I'm using oxygen. So my body is always feeding off of oxygen. And really there's a threshold when I can no longer consume oxygen, this thing called VO2 max, which is the maximum amount of oxygen that my body can consume. And as long as we're below that, we can go for a very long period of time. Okay. Whereas, hold on 1 second here. Okay. Whereas so our goal, thing one, the first thing that I want to do with a new singer or somebody that I'm working with is I want to increase their ability to do work at an aerobic pace. Okay. So we have things like nasal breathing circuits that we'll go through. You could talk about steady state cardio. So like riding a cycle, doing an elliptical, riding an airdyne while breathing through your nose. Running while breathing through your nose could also fit into this category. It's just harder on your body. And then anaerobic threshold work, which is a little bit different, but still hard, where I'm working at the top of my heart rate while still breathing through my nose. Okay. That is challenging the barrier from anaerobic to aerobic. And it's allowing me to stay aerobic at a higher percentage of my maximum heart rate. So anyway, point being is that we start here. All right. So I'm always working on this first. Then we get into either alactic endurance or lactic endurance. Okay. And so alactic endurance, if you do coloratura, okay, or you do short phrases, you sing things with a lot of vocal agility, alactic endurance is going to be very important for you. Okay. Alactic endurance is like bouncing. Okay. It's short, powerful bursts that are below 10 seconds. Okay. And what I want you to be able to do is produce a lot of power quickly and then be able to do it over and over and over again. Otherwise, you're going to fatigue. Okay. The type of endurance training that we do for something like this is radically different than doing steady state cardio while breathing through your nose. Extremely different. Couldn't be more different, because this is the other end of the scale. This is like how much output you can produce in as quick a time as possible. So this type of endurance improves the ability to belt. It also improves coloratura. So this is the type of thing, if I'm dealing with a, coloratura soprano, somebody that does this type of thing, or a commercial singer that does sustained belting, I'm doing a lot of this type of thing because it teaches them to rev the engine very quickly. All right. So with this, we have things like, incomplete rest sprints where we're going for 10 seconds really quickly, and then we're resting for 50, and we're trying to do it over and over again. And then we have things where I'm on a bike and I'm just sprinting as hard as I can for 10 seconds, and then I take full rest. Okay. The only difference is that we're either training for maximal output or capacity. Okay. And I'll show you the difference between the two in a minute. Finally, we have anaerobic endurance. And this is kind of like between those two things. This is like maybe 20 to 30 seconds. Okay. So this is like hard work that is beyond your ability to breathe through your nose. And then, you have to stop and recover. So having this type of endurance is also very important, especially at the end of a performance, because inevitably everything becomes harder at the end of a performance. So doing things like HIIT training, if you've ever done HIIT training, typically this is what HIIT training is. Okay. Is you're going to breathe through your mouth, and I don't care about that. What we want to train here is heart rate recovery. Okay. And then also how much work you can do in a certain period of time. So all of these things have their place, but I want to get you very aerobic first. Okay. That underlies everything else. So basically, the other thing to consider is that, and I'm not going to bore you with this, but the Bohr effect. Okay. Having CO2 tolerance as a singer is incredibly important. The more aerobically fit you are, the better your CO2 tolerance. Okay. So it's basically the ability of your body it's called the Bohr effect. It's the ability of your body to extract oxygen from your blood. Okay. And when we don't breathe well and we hyperventilate, okay, our body becomes less efficient at processing oxygen. So that's why breathing through your nose and, increasing your aerobic endurance is going to make your breathing more efficient. It's going to help us with this. Okay. So if I look at a hierarchy of needs, okay, and I'm thinking about training, this is the way that I would train any singer. Okay. I would do it in a little bit of a different order, but you notice at the bottom of the pyramid, okay, we have aerobic capacity. I want to get your heart rate below 60. Okay. That's the thing that I'm starting with always. Okay. So like if you're looking at this presentation, you're thinking, oh my God, like where do I even begin? Check your resting heart rate. Okay. If it's above 60, you need to do a lot of things with nasal breathing. Okay. That's the takeaway there. And then we talk about what's called aerobic power, where, okay, I've built some capacity. I've got my heart rate below 60. I know that, I'm aerobically fit. Now what I want to do is I want to try to go as hard as I can while breathing through my nose, because that demonstrates that I can stay aerobic. Okay. Then we start to get into these other methods where if I'm working with a particular athlete, a particular vocal type, I may do a lot more of the alactic part versus another athlete where I'm doing more of the anaerobic part. Okay. These two things, these second two parts of the pyramid are more subjective when we use them. The first part is not. Okay. So if you're thinking about where to begin, it's literally where we're going to begin. So again, like if I'm working with an operatic soprano, alactic power and alactic capacity is going to be the thing that I train after aerobic endurance. Okay. I'm going to do a lot more of that because they need that. So either max power output or the maintenance of max power within a set time frame. Okay. And we can get more into that. Rarely do I train anaerobic power with them. Whereas for a commercial vocalist that belts a lot, hold on, it's the opposite of that. Okay. So anaerobic power is in the middle. ALAC is at the top of the tree. So again, not too important to think about right now just because it's minutia, but understand that you need to train. If your vocal rep is short and sort of staccato or short agile, you need things that are in that time frame. Whereas if prolonged belting is what you do a lot, or you're working on longer lines, then anaerobic power, anaerobic capacity is a little bit more what we're going for. So you'll know what that means in a minute because you're going to feel that. Okay. So see if I have any more slides. All right. So here's the way today's going to work. We're going to go through some circuits. Okay. I'm going to warm everybody up real quick. We're going to go through some circuits. I'm going to show you what aerobic endurance feels like. And then I'm going to show you what anaerobic endurance feels like. And then I'm going to show you what alactic endurance feels like. And they feel very different. Okay. In our first circuit, I don't want you to go as hard as you can, but I want you to keep going. Okay. I don't want you to stop the entire time. And I want you to follow along with me. Okay. So enough of me talking. All right. Let me unshare my screen. You don't necessarily need any equipment. All you need is your body and like a yoga block. Okay. So what I want everybody to do is let's back up. All right, let's go through some warm-up stuff real quick, and then we're going to start with our circuits here. Okay, so be prepared to sweat. This is going to be fun, or it won't be, and you're going to be calling me names, but do that in the chat. So everybody back up, make sure that you can see me okay. Okay, I do have a head, but the way this is going to look, and my challenge for you today, okay, the way that I've structured this is we're going to do cardio followed by core. With the core, we're going to try to maintain our long breathing. With the cardio, we're going to challenge our breathing. Okay. And you'll see what that means as we go along here. So everybody do this. Everybody do this before we get going. This is weird. Everybody check your voice. Okay. Sing something. Sing something. Sing anything. See how it feels. Okay. And then we're going to recheck your voice after these different circuits, and we're going to see how your voice feels. Some of this stuff is going to make you feel better. Some of this stuff might make you feel quite worse. Okay, we don't know. All right, but let's start just with a quick dynamic warm-up. So what I want everybody to do is we're going to grab our ankles and we're going to sit into a deep squat like this, and we're going to stand up. Okay, so this is called a squat to stand. This is old school. This is like athletes performance 101. And we're just going to do 6 of these. So I can inhale as I go down. I can exhale as I stand up. Just gonna do about 3 more. One more here. Okay, now we're gonna come into an inchworm. An inchworm's gonna look like this. I'm gonna push up position. I'm just gonna walk my hands backwards, push my heels into the ground, and walk forward. And inhale as I go back. I can exhale as I go forward. Just gonna do about 6 of these. We're getting aerobic already. Two more. Beautiful. Okay, let's stand up. We're gonna put our yoga block under our knee. Okay, the yoga block is your target. And we're just gonna do some split squats. Okay, so the split squat, I'm just gonna tap the block and come back up. We're just gonna do 8 split squats on each side. Warming it up because this will be somewhat exerting. And then let's switch sides. The block is my target. Again, just kind of moving at a relatively slow pace. Not worrying so much about our breathing here, just making sure that you are breathing. Because that would be bad otherwise. Let's do 2 more. All right, we're gonna go lateral squat. So my feet are shoulder width apart here. Just gonna sit into this position, feel a stretch, come back up. We're gonna do 8 of these. Because arms forward pushes you backwards. Arms forward helps to shift your center of mass backwards. So that's the reason why. And just because it looks cool. Rhythm as well. So we're gonna maintaining rhythm is very important. So you know, I'm not a good dancer, but I'm a good split squatter. So try to make it look fancy. So let's go to the other side. Couple more here. Again, everybody's pointing forward. About 3 more. All right, so we're going to jump into our first circuit, everyone. I'm going to give you we're going to do 40 seconds of 40-second intervals. So we've got 40 seconds of work, followed by 15 seconds of rest. Okay, we're going to do several intervals together. Okay, and so I want you to follow along with me. Now, here's the rules for this first circuit, and this is my challenge for you. We're about to do that. All right, so here's my challenge for you, everybody. Breathe through your nose the entire time. Okay, that's what I want you to focus on. So we are focused on breathing through our nose. We're going to do some stuff where we could go really fast and really hard, but I only want you to do what you can while breathing through your nose. Okay, what we're not doing here is counting our reps or anything like that. Your goal is to go at a moderate, steady pace that allows you to keep going the entire time. Okay, so again, if you find that you have to like breathe through your mouth or stuff is burning, slow down. Part of this is learning to pace yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna set a clock here. Our first exercise is gonna be a frog squat like this or a frog hop like this. Okay, so again, pick the level that allows you to keep going the entire time, and you're gonna follow along with me. Okay, breathing through your nose the entire time. And again, if you have any questions, let me know and we'll go through this. But here we go. I'm gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's breathe through your nose. Okay, I'm going to talk because it's my meeting, but I would rather just sit here and breathe through my nose. So I'm going from side to side here, or I could just be in place like this. Okay, I'm not moving quickly. I'm moving at a pace, again, that allows me to keep going the entire time. Kind of a slow, not a lethargic pace, but a slow, controlled pace. We got 5 seconds. Okay, now we're going to go back into inchworms. Okay, so we did it for a warm-up. We're doing it for cardio. If you want to make this harder, you can add a push-up to it and then do an inchworm. Or you could just do inchworms. And the goal, again, is to keep going the entire time. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. So continue to breathe through your nose. You want to challenge yourself. You can move slower or faster, but continue to breathe through your nose. Very important. You could also talk to yourself like me. That would make it much harder. But again, got about 5 seconds. All right, so we're going back to our frog hops. All right, good fun. So again, it's going to be a little harder this time, but continue to breathe through your nose. We've got a couple rounds of this stuff. Okay, so you guys are doing awesome. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. So again, you can either jump or you could just stay in place. You guys look like some frogs. I like it. This is what is called a hip dominant jump. You'll feel some burning everywhere, but maybe a little bit more in your hips. And notice I'm not jumping high. I'm letting myself sink down into this position. Got about 8 seconds. Whew. All right. We're going to come back into our inchworm position. Round 2. We got 3 rounds in total of this circuit. Don't worry. There's more to go. So let's start here. All right, here we go. So either a push-up or an inchworm. Continue to breathe through your nose. Control your heart rate. Here we go. One of the benefits of this method is that if it's done right, it will expand you from the inside out. Okay, it's very useful. I work with a lot of singers that will do aerobic cardio like this with nasal breathing prior to singing longer lines because it helps potentiate that. But that's why, especially with circuit training, you've got to go to pace that keeps your heart rate up, but allows you to keep going like this. You got 5 seconds. All right, last round. Let's get back up. Let's go back to our frog hops. Hopefully everybody is in just a little bit of pain. Not a lot, just a little bit. Good times. And here we go. Again, let's continue to breathe through our nose. You guys are doing awesome. 3, 2, 1, and go. And I'm just kind of jumping all around here. Keep going. I'm just going to answer questions. Let's see. The question was, keep going, everybody. Let's see. Do we, yes, inhale and exhale through your nose. All through the nose. You shouldn't be talking for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes if we're doing this. Just through your nose. We got about 5 seconds. All right, let's go into our last round of inchworms or push-ups. All right, let's have some fun with it. Good times. Here we go. All right, we'll do a little bit extra just because I love you guys. Here we go. All right, either a push-up or just an inchworm. I'm gonna crawl. Continue to breathe through your nose. All right, everybody shake it out real quick. So what I want you to do, we're gonna go into another circuit. Before we do that, I want you to check your voice. All right, so let's breathe in, exhale, get your breath a little bit, sing something. Just kind of check in with it, see how it feels, and we'll see. Like, does it feel better? Does it feel worse? Does it feel the same? Okay, you got a little bit warm there. See how that goes. So our next circuit, so that was aerobic capacity, okay? Our goal was to keep going, and we weren't really worried so much about output, okay? Now we will be, okay? Our next circuit is going to focus a little bit more on that, okay? We're going to work on aerobic power, okay? This is going to be hard, okay? It's going to be harder, and I'm going to show you how we do this in a way that's we're going to use very similar exercises. Let's see, and let me get some feedback on that. So you felt compelled to yawn. Yeah, so yawning is a sign that you're compressing. Like, it's a sign that you're not getting maybe as much air in. So the inchworm is compressive. The inchworm is like, on the ground unto itself. So that's something to consider. So now, what I want everybody to do, here's the way this is going to work. We're going to do a 3-minute interval. Okay, we're going to do 2 rounds of 3 minutes on and 1 minute of active rest. Okay, the 3 minutes, the way the 3 minutes are going to work is that we're going to let's see here, and again, I'll get your feedback in the end. Nasal breathe. So yeah, breathe through your nose as best you can, and slow it down if you need to. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we're going to do 10 frog hops. All right, we're going to do 10 shoulder taps. Now, what I want you to do is we're going to go back and forth between those 2 things as quickly as we can. Okay, I want you to do the maximal number of rounds possible. 10 frog hops, 10 shoulder taps, 10 frog hops, 10 shoulder taps in a period of 3 minutes. We're going to try to go as hard as we can, and we're going to try to count our number. Okay, we're going to try to maintain that from round 1 to round 2. Okay, so aerobic power is long. Okay, it's like a long, super long interval. And so what we want to do is we want to try to maintain or beat our rounds that we established in round 1 in round 2. Okay, so do I have any questions on that? We've got the frog hops, and we've got either the inchworm or the inchworm push-up. Questions there? Anybody? Thumbs up. All right, I think we're good. All right, here we go. We've got 3 minutes on the clock. We're going to go as hard as we can for this period of time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. So still breathing through your nose, just trying to get your heart rate up. And the goal, again, go as hard as you can. Count your numbers. I'm on round 1.5. I'm on round three, almost round three. One minute, 50 seconds. We're almost there, everybody. Work on it. Need to have some cool music next time. Start round three. One minute left. I've got 5 rounds in me, I think. 45 seconds. Mm. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. Everybody rest. Whew. All right, 1 minute off. Okay. Throw in the chat how many rounds you get. 6.5. You're a beast. Holy crap. I got 5 too. All right. Yeah, well, you're going to. Unfortunately, we got to do that one more time because we got to retest. Power output. Whew. We just got one more, Cat. From pain comes gain. You know, that's what this whole musical athlete thing's about. We got 18 seconds. One more round, guys. I told you I was going to bring you some pain. Participant numbers are going to go down. Yeah, that's true. That's hot. That's 42 Celsius is steaming. So do what you can. Okay. Here we go. Last round. 3, 2, 1. Go. Try to beat your total. You've got it written down. You know what it is. -5. Even if you don't, this is still going to train the qualities that we're looking for. So competition helps here. Two minutes, 15 seconds. I'm in 2. Less than 2 minutes. Starting 4. Minute and a half. You going? Minute 18. 1 minute. Mm. 30 seconds, 38 seconds. Mm. 10 seconds. Everybody rest. Whew. All right. Throw in the chat. What'd you get? Five. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. The larger question. So, from a vocal standpoint, here's my question for you. What was your limiter? Did you find that your upper body started to give out or your lower body started to give out? That's a good question. What I recommend for wrist and shoulder modifications, hold on to dumbbells. It'll put your wrist in a more neutral alignment. As far as your voice goes, think about that. We talked about central versus peripheral limiters. A lot of us have either a lot of tension in the upper body or tension in the lower body. Whatever's limiting you, saying we want to train a little bit more happen at, yeah. So all good. Yeah, it would happen. It would happen for sure. Everybody try to sing real quick, okay? Check your voice. Of course you did. That was hard. That's the idea, is that this type of thing compels you to mouth breathe. Yes, exactly. That's training your anaerobic threshold. Your anaerobic threshold is literally what you just felt, okay? Like that's the reason that we do it, is because we want to make it as hard as we can while still breathing through your nose. So if you find that like you get to the point where you can't breathe through your nose anymore, back off the pace a bit, okay? That's the idea. And the cool thing is you guys are feeling this, so I'm coaching you through this like in real time. So you can feel what it feels like to be there, right? Like the feeling of it being really hard to breathe is what happens eventually in a performance. So training at that level and training your body to buffer CO2 while breathing through your nose and feeling this way is a very useful thing to do, even though it sucks. Okay, like it's not a good feeling, but it's a feeling that I want you to become more familiar with because it's going to help you. So there you go. So, okay, we are going to do some alactic endurance now. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys through maximal power output. Okay, normally, those of you that work with me, you know that I like an Airdyne for this. Okay, and I like an assault bike for this because they're great. And if anybody doesn't know what those are, I'll put a link in the chat. They are badass. Actually, I'll show you. It's this thing. It's a fan bike. Okay, it's acting as my like, it's holding on to some equipment right now, but that fan bike is amazing because it takes away any physical constraints that might limit you, like shoulders, ankles, knees, that sort of thing. So highly recommend using one of those things if you have it at a gym. But I'm going to show you how to do it without that. So the way this is going to work, we're going to do alactic endurance just for 3 rounds, because I just want you to see what this feels like. We're going to go 12 seconds of work, followed by 1 minute of rest. So that doesn't seem like that long. So what you have to do is you've got to go as hard as you possibly can for 12 seconds. All right, so let me show everybody what this looks like. All right, so we're going to do what is called a high knee run. So high knee run looks like that. All right, everybody practice it real quick. Let me know if you have any knee or shoulder things that we need to modify. Otherwise, we're going to do it. And then you just put it in the chat if necessary. Otherwise, I'm just gonna say stop and go, okay? So my only goal for you is to go as hard as you possibly can and spike your heart rate, okay? That's it. Don't worry about breathing through your shoulder mod. Are you feeling your shoulder during the high knee run? Okay, if you are, I would just move with your legs, okay? I would just let your arms be relaxed on the pullback. Okay, yeah, because you're going like that. I would just try it just with your arms, or try that. If that's still kind of dicey, what you could do is something like a jump squat or a sit stand jump squat. That's what I'd recommend, okay? So just something that takes your arms out of it. So try that, and then try that. Okay, or take your arms out of it. And if that's still an issue, you can even do like a sit stand jump squat for anybody else that needs it, where or just an air squat down with like a bench. Those two things as well. Cool. Okay, cool. All right. Here we go, everybody. We're gonna get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Five seconds. All right. Push your breath. 1 minute off. Walk around. Let your heart rate come down a little bit. Should have been too terrible, but should be maximal effort. Okay, so again, we're going as hard as we can. We're trying to make it hard. So we've got 30 seconds. What I want everybody to do, get back to nasal breathing as quickly as you can. Mouth breathe as much as you need to, but then try to get back to nasal breathing by the end, okay? By the end of this, back to nasal breathing, because that would demonstrate that you can aerobically recover. We're gonna go again in 13 seconds. So again, to the best of your ability, I want you breathing through your nose, okay? So here we go. We're gonna get started in 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Okay, once again, got one more round to go. Breathe through your mouth as needed. We try to get back to nasal breathing as quickly as you can. So walk around, recover. Get back to nasal breathing though. Recover through your nose, because that'll bring your heart rate down more quickly. We've got 20 seconds. So again, good way to gauge how good you are at this is the recovery part, not how quickly you go in your sprint, but how quickly you can get back to nasal breathing. It's a very important detail. All right, we've got 10 seconds. Last round. Everybody push as hard as you can or pull. Run. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Four seconds. Rest. Whew. All right. Again, let's take a minute. Let's get back to nasal breathing. Move around. Take your time. Breathe through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. I'm taking a minute because even I get winded from time to time. Let's see. If you have any comments, post them in the chat. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So quick thing about that, when you're sprinting, I don't care what you do with your breathing. Like, it doesn't matter. You can hold your breath. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's such a brief period of time that we're trying to just produce force. Worrying about your breathing is going to dampen output. We don't want that. So let's see. Yeah. You You would. It's a completely different thing. So your upper body as a singer, but think about this, right? Most singers that I've ever worked with, upper body tension is very prevalent. Okay. Doing things that involve endurance with the upper body periodically like that, intermittent endurance is incredibly important, because if I just gave you that circuit, the second thing that we did, the aerobic power circuit, and we said, you're going to perform that for 4 weeks, twice a week for like 3 rounds, your upper body endurance would get much better. Okay. Because again, your upper body is learning to, or adapting to, buffering stress. So it's a very, very useful thing to do. Probably the reason that this seemed easier was because you were not moving against resistance. Like, it doesn't surprise me that those of you that said this was easier, because like for me, that type of thing is very difficult because I'm used to pushing resistance and grinding through everything that I do. Whereas somebody that does coloratura, a soprano that does that, or anyone that does that, it's very light and bouncy, and you're moving in a lot of different areas. And that's what that was. It's just a lot of movement very quickly. It's power output, so, we train everybody. Let's check this out. Go ahead.
Somewhere
All right.
over.
Very beautiful. Whoever's doing that, I'm just going to mute you. All right. Everybody check in with your voice real quick. Let's do that. See how that sounds. We got one more thing to do. Okay. So we did, so we worked on, and feel free to throw in the chat how that feels now, but we got one more thing to do. We're going to work on, let's see here. Yeah, similar. Yes, they would be. Very similar to coloratura. Yeah, anything that involves like runs or things that, they change octaves very quickly, or they traverse the range of your voice, would be similar to that. Okay, so we're going to do what is called an EMOM. So this is called every minute on the minute. Okay, this is going to be power endurance for time. Okay, so the way this is going to work, everybody's going to need like a chair for this, and trying to think of what else. Oh, and we're going to do, yeah, chair for this, and then just something to put something on the ground. Like if you have a mat, we can use the mat. If you don't have a mat, then you don't have to. But okay, so now here's how this works. This is the ability to produce power over and over again for 1 minute. Okay, this is the ultimate. And for those of you that had trouble producing power anywhere, or trouble with your upper body, this is going to really challenge it. Okay, so we're going to do an upper body and a lower body version of this. Okay, so we're going to set a clock for 1 minute, and the way this works is I'm going to produce a maximal squat jump every 3 seconds. So the clock is, let's say the clock is running. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to rest for 3 seconds. So I count to 3. Okay, so that is our lower body exercise. Upper body exercise, okay? We can use a wall. We can use an incline. You can be from your knees, but every 3 seconds. Okay, so we're going to do a push-up of some kind. Okay, again, could be on a wall, could be on the ground, could be on your knees. I don't care. Okay, the key is that you can do it explosively, and you can repeat it every 3 seconds for 1 minute. Okay, do I have any questions on any of that, anyone?
We're choosing either
No.
the
We're
other.
doing lower body first,
Okay.
and then we're doing upper body. Yes, it could be. I didn't quantify it that way, Lisa, but it could be. I'm just saying we're repeating the explosive effort. So I jump and I count 1, 2, 3. I jump again. I count 1, 2, 3. I jump again. The one thing with the jump and with the push-up is that, correct, less per minute. We're not trying to do as many as we can. The key thing here is output. I'm trying to jump as explosively as I can. Like I'm trying to hit the ceiling with my head. Okay. And I'm trying to push as explosively as I can. I'm trying to like push myself off the ground, like a plyo push-up, like that. So you've got to be very like explosive in your execution of this. Okay. I don't care about, you know, how many you do. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that you feel like you can stay explosive the entire time. Okay. So that's the key, because that's power endurance. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? All right, cool. So we're going to go from upper to lower, upper to lower. So we've got 4 minutes. We're done with this thing. So here we go. Let's start with our jump. Everybody, you know, you don't need to use a chair. I am, you know, do what feels good. But here we go. 3, 2, 1. So I count 1, 2, 3. I count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 25 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. All right, everybody rest. We're going to go to our push-up. So again, this could either be on the wall. This could be on the floor. If you have shoulder stuff going on, you could do a slam with a block or something like that, or you could do another explosive activity. Yes, I love it. That's, yes, excellent, Culver. Very good. All right, here we go, everybody. Pick your poison. Doesn't have to be a push-up. It could be on the ground, on the floor, whatever. Notice I come to my knees while I count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 14 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Excellent. All right, we're gonna finish with one more jump, everybody. How's everybody feeling? Everybody good? We enjoying ourselves? All right, I'm enjoying myself. We're gonna do one more set of the jumps, okay? Let's finish with this. Here we go. Sit down. Let's get as high as we can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Almost there. 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Almost there. 18 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Jump. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. And jump. Oh, man. All right. Everybody take a seat. Actually, walk around, get your breath. Walk around, get back to nasal breathing if you haven't already. I'm gonna sit down here, get my breath. How's everybody feeling? Check in with your voice. Actually, check in with your voice. Let's see how that feels now. Very good. Okay, so I'd love some feedback. Who found that their voice is in a better place now or is worse now? Either way, like I'd love to hear what made your voice better or what made your voice worse. I'd love to get your feedback on that. Do I have any from anybody? I love it. Okay. Anybody else? Any other vocal comments? Feel free to like unmute. Let me know. You know,
I think my notes are stronger in some ways, but I'm out of breath. But
yeah,
it's good.
you would be. It's interesting, and we'll talk about that. Okay, very good. Very good. I love it.
I
Very
feel
good.
overall better. I felt better after the first and the third set, but after the second set, I didn't feel as good. But I also think that there was like a pain factor
Yeah.
where I was like, my shoulder was bothering me. So I feel like that kind of created tension in my breath. It made me want to like open my mouth. Whereas everything else I was able to nasal breathe through. So that was an interesting thing to know as well.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. And I'll say this, and you know, thank you for all the feedback, everybody. Yeah, and it does. Like stuff like this is a great recovery session. Like when I'm programming generally, like as a singer, you can get away with a lot more on a show week in terms of cardio than you can with strength training. Like a lot more. Like you can do a lot more of this stuff without compressing yourself because we're not using the external resistance that would, you know. So that's a consideration to make. So what I would say about this is that. Cool. So what I'd say about this is that when you think about the different things that we did, right? The aerobic stuff that we did, one aerobic circuit was very expansive. The second one was more compressive because we had an upper body component to it, and there was really no rest, and we were trying to create power output. Okay. Notice that the things that didn't involve external resistance helped to potentiate your voice. Okay. They gave you more. Okay. But notice that also some of you said, you know, you felt like you could, you know, you felt more powerful in your voice, but you also felt out of breath. So the things that are shorter and more explosive, like what we just did, you know, like a really quick contraction eventually will squeeze air out of you. Okay. Which is like, you'd say, oh, well, that's not good. It's good when you need to be able to like go on a run or be able to like hit a higher note, or you're doing phrases like you're doing like staccati or you're doing coloratura where the phrases are compressed into a small exhale and a small inhale. Like you don't need as much breathing capacity. Breathing capacity would actually dampen you, right? So if you do something like this before you do your rep, it would actually help you because it compresses your breathing capacity into what you actually need. Okay, so like one of the things that I believe in is like doing cardio that fits your vocal rep as a potentiator for your vocal rep prior to your vocal rep. Like it makes a huge difference, and it's something that's super simple to do. You know, that's why people say sometimes like, you know, I've heard people say like yoga made my voice feel better when I did this, but worse when I did that, which makes total sense because this and that were different. The vocal requirements are different, and the properties that we get from these different circuits will be different. You know what I mean? But if you understand that things where you're breathing through your nose are more, where you're kind of going for longer, are gonna that don't involve a lot of upper body contact, are gonna help you extend your vocal capacity. They're gonna give you more for longer lines and stuff. Whereas the stuff where we're using your upper body, where we're explosive, more so, we're compressing it into a fixed time frame, are going to help you with things that require more like power, you know, and belting and agility. You know, if you can think of it in that way, you know, this stuff could really help you. You know, and that would be my challenge for you, is to play around with it with your voice. Like do some cardio, sing. Do some cardio, sing. Like it's very useful to play around with this stuff and try this stuff, because I do that. Like I sing to myself and I play around with it. So, you know, good fun. Do I have any questions? That's pretty much it for me today. But do I have any questions on any of that, guys? Okay, let's see. What if you need both in the same aria? So if you need both in the same aria, one of the most difficult things to do, like, have you guys ever found that like it's very difficult to go from like something that's very long to something that's very short over and over again? Like that's very hard, right? Like, you know, it makes it very difficult to go from things that are high to low, high to low, high to low. But if you do that with your cardio, that will help you. So the way that I would, if you're working with something that, if you're working with two things that are opposite of one another, start with the stuff that's expansive, go to the stuff that's explosive, go back to the stuff that's expansive, finish with the stuff that's explosive, because you create space, but you also potentiate your nervous system. So it gives you both. Okay. And that might be the best of both worlds. I don't know, but that's what I would do. I would go back and forth between the two of those a few times. And do I have, and if you guys have questions, like just unmute and ask me. That's probably the easiest way to go at this point. Anybody else? Of course, happy to help. Absolutely. Thank you. Any questions, anybody, or any comments or anything else? Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Okay. So, yeah, if you have a question, I'm going to stick around for a little while, guys. Feel free to ask me questions. Stick around. Okay, here's one. We're all done, guys. If you want to stick around and talk, I'm here. If you don't have to. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Okay. Hey man, could you guys, yes, you will have access to this recording. Okay, guys, real quick, unmute and ask me the question just so I can go back and forth. Go ahead. Anybody?
Chris, do you have advice for like how to use walking to train? That's my favorite cardio workout. This was awesome, but not in my usual wheelhouse.
Yeah, I do actually. I do. So, okay, so you can do this type of thing. So I don't even view walking as walking. I view walking as like a circuit. You know what I mean? So you're walking, and that's long duration cardio. So you're walking, and you think about what you need, right? So let's say you want to go on a long walk, okay, and you're like, but I want to train power output. Okay, you could literally do the high knees for 10 seconds, walk for 3 minutes, and do the same thing. Okay, or I want to train, I want to train cardiac output, because the problem with walking that I often run into with people is that it becomes too easy for you. It's like you get to a point where initially it's hard, but then you get to a point where your body adapts to it. So, you could add things like hill walks, to train cardiac output, or you could stop and do some stuff. Like you could stop and do 10 squats. You could stop and do 10 shoulder taps, and then you get up, you walk a little bit, you do that. I would say, like, think about the principles that we talked about today and overlay it into a longer walk. You can still do the same thing without ever changing what you're doing. Another thing that you could do is, without running, you could just increase the pace of your walking. You could go 30 seconds harder, 30 seconds easier, or you could find a hill, go up the hill for 30 seconds and then just walk around and then come back, go up the hill for 30 seconds, like things like that. You just have to sort of, you just have to think about it in those terms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Really helpful.
Sure, of course. Absolutely. Yes, thank you, everybody. Any other questions? Somebody had a question about heart rate percentage or something.
Yeah, like in terms of zone 4, so as zone 5 work, would you still aim to nasal breathe as long as you can?
No,
Like,
no. Zone 5 work is like maxing out at the gym. Like think about this like strength training. Okay, if you're strength training, and you get above a certain weight and you're trying to nasal breathe or breathe through, like I'm an advocate of breathing through a lift, but if you get beyond a certain percentage, it's so heavy that it's going to squeeze air out of you no matter what. Like, and it's supposed to, because you're just trying to create as much force as possible. Breathing in zone 5 would dampen it. Like zone 5 is about output. Like I would want you to just go really hard and then focus on breathing, getting back to nasal breathing afterwards as a recovery tactic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that would be my advice. Yeah, because if you're breathing through your nose during zone 5 cardio, like have fun. Like that's going to be very miserable for you. So yeah, wouldn't want to do that. But anybody else? Go ahead.
Do you add weights? Because I saw also people doing a Russian bell, like with
Like a
dumbbells.
kettlebell?
A kettlebell, yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah. Whoa,
In
like for
Spanish,
cardio?
they said, yeah. They said, well, I did it. Like it seems to me very cardio because I was like,
It is for sure. Yeah,
okay. So that
it
would
is.
be.
It is. So okay. Yes, but, okay. Yes, I would, depending upon what I want. Okay. So like if I'm working with like a commercial singer that needs to belt, then I would take elements of what they need and I would put it in their cardiovascular workout. So for them, they need like a kettlebell swing. When you're swinging, you're holding your body in middle propulsion. So you're
Yeah.
like that, right? And that's kind of like, it's like that. It's like a belt, right? So if I'm trying to train that and they need that and they need endurance around that, then definitely I would. Whereas if I'm training somebody that needs like, that with a repertoire that is the lines are longer and stuff, I wouldn't do that because they don't need that. It would be too compressive for them. Like I would do things like I might do like a medicine ball slam, like, but it's not, it doesn't repeat itself because with the bell, I'm holding onto the bell the whole time. So I'm tensing the whole time, and that's whereas with the ball, it's like I let go and I let go, I compress, I let go, I compress, I let go. So
Yeah,
it's like you've got a spring that's either going like that or like that, and it's just depending upon the person, So I would say that it's good if you need it based upon what you need, you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
more.
very dependent.
Yeah, more bigger lines and like mezzo type of repertoire with
Yep.
a lot of fondo. So okay,
Yeah,
that's
just
great.
think of it in those terms, because if you start to think about heavy vocal rep and what that represents physically, it changes the way that you choose your exercises. You know what I mean? Because there are definitely certain things that like nothing should be done at random. You know what I mean? Like we want to pick things that challenge endurance if you lack that in a certain area. We want to choose things that either challenge or potentiate your voice. Like we want to stay away from things that are when you're close to a performance that are going to do the opposite of that. Like we want things that are more favorable for your voice. So again, it's like, it's a very long discussion, but yeah, like weighted jumps I like a lot. Like I'll do cleans, things like that, but it's just all when you do it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Cool, of course. Anybody else?
Hi. Yes, I still have a question.
Sure.
So I asked about like when you have some repertory or an area that you have legato and coloratura in the same area.
Mhm.
And like for example, if we take the group of exercises that we did today, how would you put them to work on both things?
Good question. Okay, so coloratura would be things where, so like in our so in like the alactic power thing that we did, the high knee run where I was trying to like move as quickly as I can, that is very coloratura. Okay, like some other coloratura things would be like pogos. Pogos, you're very coloratura. Like throwing is very coloratura. Because it's like it's a limited range of motion and the goal is to be elastic and get off the ground or get out of my hand as quickly as possible. I would also choose things that involve compressing and expanding very quickly. Okay, so like what I wouldn't choose for that would be a push-up. Okay, I wouldn't put your hands on the ground because if you think about it, when my hands are on the ground, I'm pushing into the ground the whole time. Okay, not favorable for coloratura. Don't want that. Okay, whereas what I could do is I would do something like a med ball throw. I would do something like a slam. I would do something for my upper body, like maybe even like a band press or something where I could let go of the band and grab it again. Because it's all about compressing and letting go. It's a very coiled spring, or it's a coil and an uncoil. Legato, I would do the opposite of that. So legato, I would take the inchworm and I would do the inchworm for legato because legato is like I want to extend out capacity. So it's okay if I'm under tension, but I just have to be under the right amount of tension. Like I don't want to over tense. Like if I made you do so it's the difference between doing something like this, where if you watch me do it, or let's say this, okay, like I can still breathe in this position. I could keep going for a long time. Whereas if I add like 2 push-ups to it, it adds a lot of fatigue to it, right? So it makes my muscles sore, you know, and it doesn't allow me to, it starts to affect my breathing capacity. So that wouldn't be good, right? But what I want for legato is I want things that are long and sustained. Okay, so here's the difference. If I'm doing a coloratura jump is like, a legato jump would be like, can you see the difference in the two? The one, I'm not under tension much. This, I am under tension much more. But the point is that I can sustain that tension and I can keep it aerobic. Like I can keep going. I can breathe through it. I can make it long, you know? That's the whole thing. I would want to extend breathing capacity when I'm talking about legato. So I would choose maybe like, if I'm looking at a circuit, I do like the deep tier jump that I just did, inchworm, and maybe like maybe like a side plank pulse or something like that, or a dead bug pullover or something. All of those things involve, it's just a constant line of tension, right? Like I'm keeping my upper body under tension for a long time. I'm keeping my lower body under tension for a long time, but it's not a lot of tension. It's enough that I can keep going, but it's still a tension line. Whereas coloratura, I'm bouncing. And I'm trying to maintain that. So that would be the difference. That's how I would organize it. Does that make sense?
Yes. So you would, if you have the both in the same repertory, so you would start like with the legato exercises and then coloratura and then finish with legato?
Right.
Or-
Yes. Because what that's going to do is that's going to, I establish breathing capacity with the cardio first, then I do the coloratura stuff, and then I do the legato again, because that's going to show me whether or not I still have that capacity. If I went, you know, if I can hold myself, if I can still hold myself open, then I'm golden. Okay. And whereas if I can't, then the legato will open me again, and I'm still potentiated with the coloratura. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I would think about it.
Super.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Of course. Anybody else? Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Great questions. I really appreciate you. Oh, before you go, okay, my wife makes me mention this every thing. We have a membership that we're going to be offering in September, okay? If you join before September, you get a discount of, I think it's like 15 or 20%. And so we're going to be doing these master classes every week based upon what you want in topics. We're going to be doing a training class every week. And then I'm also going to have office hours where we talk like this. So if you're super into this stuff and you want to know more about, and every month we're going to have a class where we're going to have a master class where I bring in a clinician and we work on your voice together. Okay. So if you're super into this stuff and, you know, you want to learn more and, you know, you're enjoying these classes, please join. Okay. We're going to send out an email later today with that information. You can stay and talk to me now. Other than that, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Really appreciate you guys.